Yo, YouTube, are you ready to record on your own? You ready to make music on your own? You don't want to go to a studio, but you're trying to learn exactly how to do it from home. You're hearing everybody talk about Pro Tools, Logic, this, that, and you just want to get started. Well, I'm going to give you a step-by-step tutorial on how to get started with Pro Tools on your own. You don't need nobody but me right now. I got you. Let's go. What's up, YouTube? DJ Truth, Play Stop Rec, the home of the beginner tutorials. So today's tutorial is going to be how you can create your own music starting off with Pro Tools. Now, if you are somewhere intermediate or professional, you don't need this video. But if you're a complete beginner and you want to learn everything to really get started and figure out what you're doing and to really just create something so you can put it out, then this is where you need to be, right here with me. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to flip over to my screen. I'm going to show you my screen. We're going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to walk you through how to create, let's just say a song, even how to bounce it down and put it out to the world. Yo, let's lock in. Let's go. All right, guys. So I'm going to start by opening up Pro Tools right now. And it's going to go through basically what it's doing in the beginning. It's reading everything. It's reading your drivers. It's reading how many plugins you might have. And you're going to come to this screen. Now, this is your dashboard. This is basically where you set up yourself for greatness. Now, this is going to be different for everybody. This is going to be different for you. It's going to be different for me. If you look up here, first off, you want to name what you're doing. So we're going to call this Practice YouTube. All right, so you want to name it, and you're going to be at the Create tab, not Recent or Projects. You're going to be at the Create. Now, this wants to know where you're going to save it. We're going to save it right here, local storage. That's your hard drive, okay? Make sure this box isn't checked, because a lot of times this box is checked. Create from template. Right now, you don't have a template, and I'm gonna break down a whole nother video on templates, but right now, I just want to get you started. So if you scroll down, you look down. Also here, this is if you're creating a cloud backup. This if you are collaborating with somebody who backs their stuff up on the cloud and you guys are sending stuff back and forth, you can do that, but we're not doing that. All right, so come down here. File type. We're going to leave the file type at WAV because you can read it. We're going to leave the bit at 24-bit. Now, right here, sample rate. This is going to be different for everybody. I'm using my sound card right now has an external clock that only goes to 48 kilohertz. Now for you, this might be at 44.1. It might be at 96. It might be at 48, and you may be able to change it depending on your sound card. My sound card won't allow me to change it. If you can change this, this probably means, especially if you're a beginner, this probably means, your sound card has different clock speeds. I would say put the clock speed at 44.1. All right, 44.1. That's like that. That's audio standard. 48 is typically for video, they say, but I know people who use 48. But I would say use 44.1. Everything else, this is fine. This is the location where your file is going to be saved. So this one is to my desktop. So we're going to hit create. So you're going to see it build. Now, when you open it up, you're going to see two windows. You should see two windows. You're going to see this small window and this mixer window. This is the session side. So this is where you're going to spend a lot of time recording. And I'm actually going to make this a little bigger so you guys can see it. Actually, I'm going to hit the green button. There we go. So you can see it. All right. And then the other side is my mixer window. So right now they're blank, but bear with me. All right, so the first thing we want to do, this is your timeline. So the first thing you want to do on your timeline is you want to create a new track, right? We're going to create a track. So we're going to come up to the top here. We're going to hit track. And there's shortcuts for all of this, but I'm not going to show you any shortcuts right now. So you're going to hit track. You're going to go to new. Click new. Now right here, it says create. This is the number of tracks you want to create. Right now, we're going to create we're going to do this one by one because you could actually do a bunch in a row, but we're going to do this one by one. You're going to create one new track. Now, if this track is for vocals, it is typically mono, right? This is going to be a mono track. You also want it to be an audio track. You have different, this could be a routing track. It can be a master fader, auxiliary input. Right now, this is going to be the track you record your voice on. So we're going to put an audio track. Samples, or you can leave this at samples. And then you can also name it here. I actually have never named a track here, but we're going to do it today. We're going to say lead vocal. All right, so lead vocal, we're going to create it. Bam. As you see it drop down, it gave us a whole timeline. Now let's go create another track because you're going to need more than one lead vocal track. So we're going to go back up the track. Let's do this again. We're going to go to new. This time we're going to create multiple tracks. So now when you pull it back up, it looks the exact same way. So right now we're going to create another track, but this time I'm going to go over here to this plus sign and add a row. So now I can create multiple tracks at once. So if I had changed all of these settings and hit this plus sign, it would have duplicated it down here. But I'm going to add 3 more tracks. Matter of fact, 4. So typically I would add a lead track, which we already had. Then I would make a double track, which is my lead double, which that I use to double the track. I would make an ad lib track, or what people call ins and outs. So I would say ad lib 1. Then I would do ad lib 2. And then I would make what I call a talk track. And you know, on vocals, when you hear someone just repeating things and saying things throughout the track, they're just talking or used for intros. That's what my talk track is for. So right now, these are all mono tracks because it's a single sound. It's just your voice. It's not stereo. It's not spread out. So we're going to hit create. Voila. Bam. Now, if you look, you got lead vocal, double, ad lib 1, ad lib 2, talk track. All right, so now that we have our vocals, we need an instrumental, okay? So if you don't know how to download an instrumental, if you have an instrumental on your computer, make sure you actually have the file and you're not just pulling it or streaming it from the internet. You need the physical file of it. So that would be a whole nother video, because sometimes I know people would try to grab songs and they're like, wait, I don't actually own this song. Like if you're playing songs from iTunes, or if you're playing songs from Apple Music or Spotify, you physically don't have those songs. You're just playing data. So you couldn't just import those songs. You actually physically need a song. So I have some downloaded, some instrumentals downloaded. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go up here to File. I'm going to go to Import. And I'm going to go to Import Audio. Now, typically, I've seen people run and drag a file into Pro Tools, like an audio file, kind of like if you do video editing, how you can just drag it from anywhere. Well, the reason I would not suggest doing that is because once you drag that file from wherever you dragged it from, Pro Tools will remember that location, that exact location where you got it from. So if you happen to move that file at a later date, let's just say it was on your desktop and then you went out and cleaned your desktop one day and moved that file somewhere else, or even put it in the trash, Pro Tools will no longer find that file because it's looking from the location you dragged it from. So I never suggest dragging files in. I always say import, because this creates its own destination within Pro Tools. So again, guys, so we went into import. Now you're gonna look for the file. Right now, I have some things in my as you can see, I have some files inside of my downloads folder. So I'm up here in my downloads folder. You click it, it comes over here and it says convert. So now you're going to convert this file into a playback speed that works with Pro Tools. So you click convert, and now it's over here and it matches what Pro Tools is recording at. You click OK. Now here, you click open. This is basically saying, where are you going to save this sound? What folder? You're always going to save it in this folder, the audio files folder. It should automatically be there once you make it to this point. Hit open, voila. You're going to start this at new track. You don't have to start it from a clip list. That's something else I can show you later, but here's your file. So now you have your audio file. Typically, I take this, I name this, and I say instrumental. Right? I spelled that wrong too. Instrumental, right? Then I grab it and I take it to the very top because it's a little easier to edit when the music is at the top for me. So now if I hit play, and you should hear this. I didn't check this earlier. Okay, so you should be able to hear that, I assume. The instrumental is playing. I hit space bar and it began to play. So now we have an instrumental in here. All right, so I'm gonna hit space bar to stop it from playing. Now I want to record vocals onto that beat, right? I want to hear that. I want to record vocals onto that beat. So what I'm gonna do is come over to my lead track, to my lead vocal, the one we created earlier. And the first thing I want to do is I'm gonna go up here to the input path and I'm gonna click it. And this is basically your microphone's input. This is basically saying, hey, microphone, this is where you're coming in at. So you click here, you go to interface, and everyone, this is going to be different for everybody because everybody's interface is different. Typically, if you have your mic plugged into mic line 1 on your interface, it'll say it right here. Mic line 1, click the box. Your output, this is your output. This is where your sound is coming from. Typically, your output is going to be coming from left and right and out of your monitors. So out of your audio interface, and it's normally main output left and right. Now, of course, this varies from situation to situation because depending on who you are, you might have things routed a certain way. If you know how to get that far, then trust me, you don't need this video. This is for the guys who really don't know anything and really trying to figure it out. So here's a head start. All right, guys. So now we're going to hit this I. This I is how you input the track, meaning track monitoring. This is how you test your vocals. So when I hit this, I should start getting a level here. Let's see. As you can see, we're getting a level there. Now, that is me speaking to you. I'm coming through my track input 1. S is for solo, if you wanted to solo this, but keep in mind, nothing else will play. M is for muting, if you didn't want to hear that. Volume, you can control the volume up and down here. What we got? Record. This is record. So if you notice, I hit record, but nothing's recording, correct? Nothing's recording. And that's because we have to start playing it to record. This is basically getting you ready. It's testing per se. So we're going to hit, I always hit the input and leave record on for some strange reason because after we stop recording, if I stop recording, then I couldn't hear myself in Pro Tools anymore. So I always keep the input playing just so if I stop, I can still hear myself talking back. So we're going to hit record. I got the input ready. Now you may have a transport bar. I keep my transport bar up here at the top. Mine is on P, which is punch, because I punch a lot when I'm recording music. I punch a lot. Like I'll do a part, stop, do another part over it and move it around. So typically I have mine on punch. And how did I get there? I held control on my keyboard and I clicked this record button and it can change to different things. Loop. I don't even know what D. I think D is destructive recording. I think that's what that is. Destructive recording mean it doesn't save the audio files if you don't want them, if you delete them. I believe. I'm not sure if that's what that is though. But I keep mine on P to punch. So we're going to get to the beginning. Now, as you can see up top, we are blinking. We're ready to record. Record is enabled. It's blinking over here. This means we're ready. When I hit play, it's going to go. So as you can see, let's see. And you're going to hear a delay because I'm using my mic while also recording this. But we go check. Look. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. As you can see, the levels are decent as well over here. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. We making tutorials, YouTube. I don't know what I'm saying, but I don't know what I'm saying. But you get the point, right? So, as you can see, we have an audio signal here. And this is what we just recorded. Now, if we want to play back and hear that, I'll take the input off. I'll take off record, and I'm gonna hit the space bar. And you're gonna hear a delay because I'm using. Now, if you notice, this is a straight dry signal, so there's no effects or anything. Check, 1 2 1 2. Check, 1 2 1 2. Check, 1 2 1 2. Get it? Okay. So, all right, we get the point. So now, that was my lead vocal. Let's say I wanted to add something else to that. So, as you noticed, I was turning up the volume, and I haven't even showed you the other side. But if we go to this mixer window, let's do it. And you're gonna hear a delay. So now this is like a console, as you can see. It's like a console, so I can control the volume here up and down. But we go check. Look. But we're gonna go back to the other side, and to switch to both sides. On a Mac, you hold Command and hit the plus and equal key, and it'll flip over. You can also come up to the top if you don't want to use the shortcut. I actually haven't done this in a long time. Oh yeah, you come up to the top, go to Window, and you pick which one you want to go to. If you want to go to the mix screen or the edit screen. I believe we are on the edit screen now. Let's go to the mix screen, and it flips over. So it's up to you. I just like using the shortcut, of course. So that's our 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. All right, so let's say I want to double that, meaning I'm gonna double that track. So typically when you record, let's say you record hip hop, if you notice, you add a double track. So you do the same exact thing. Normally, if I'm recording someone, I would tell them to do it slightly different, but on time. So I'm gonna show you. So now I'm gonna come down here. I'm going to also make sure, now if you notice, I was getting ready to hit input. Oh, but it's still going through. Oh, because it's left and right, so it doesn't matter. All right. But make sure each track is on the right mic input, because you'll sit there and wonder why aren't you getting any sound or anything coming through, because you changed the first one to mic input 1, but you didn't come and change the rest. So make sure they are all on the same mic input, all on the same output. All right, so next we're gonna record this double. So we're gonna come here. I'm gonna just start this here at check. So if you notice, record over here, punch, it's ready, hit play. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Check. You can see the levels are decent. All right, so now if you saw that, we recorded both, and now I'm just gonna level these out. 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. As you can see, the levels are, and so forth and so on. You go to each track and record what you want. Now, here's something. Excuse me, guys. Here's something that I will show you, real quick. So you got a dry vocal. Now, everybody, I know we love effects. We love plugins. We want effects. This box, these 5 boxes over here, are for your effects. So typically, if you're starting out, I would just tell you EQ, compression. So we're gonna use some basic EQ and compression. I'm gonna tell you to use presets. Just use presets to start out. So you're gonna go here, click here. This box is gonna say plugin. You're gonna go to EQ. Now this will look different for everybody. Yours might just be a few. Let's go to 7-band EQ. EQ3 7-band. This comes standard with Pro Tools. I believe it's the Air plugins, or no, this one isn't even Air. This is standard with plugins, so you will have this. You're gonna go here. You're gonna go to vocals. So if you didn't see what I clicked where it said factory default. You're gonna go to vocals, and whether you're male or female, you're gonna just click a preset. So let's just do vocal cleanup. So if you notice, the EQ moved around. Now you might already know how to EQ, so you don't need any of this. I'm not gonna show you how to EQ today, but I'm gonna just do some presets. So now we added the EQ. Now let's add a compressor to basically control the voice and lift it up, give it a little life. So we're gonna go to dynamics. We're gonna go to dynamic 3 compressor up top. Again, this is another Pro Tools compressor. Wait, let's see. It didn't pop up. Oh, there it is. All right, we're gonna go to factory default, just like the other one. Factory default. We're gonna scroll. I'm gonna go to, there should be a vocal compressor. Oh yeah, let's do vocal comp. Bam. All right, so we got it. Check 1 2 1 2. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but that boosted it up a lot. Check 1 2 1 2. Let's see. Check, 1 2 1 2. Check. And there's a lot of compression going on right now. I know what to do about this, but you guys, you can see the levels are decent as well over here. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1. And voila, guys, you got it. You got your vocals recorded. Now, I hope you do a way better job than I just did with the worst freestyle in the history of freestyles, but you'll be fine. So you got your vocals, right? We got your vocals. You EQ'd them, and you can add other effects. Like you can come here, you can add reverb to give it some space. You can do whatever you want. Let's just say I'm gonna add a reverb, right? Let's make this a little. Let's just add a vocal plate. Typically, when you add reverbs, if you're brand new and you add a preset, come down here to the wet and dry, and this is how you control the amount of reverb. So if you just play it now, you hear all of that? So you come down to the wet and dry and start turning it down. Check, 1 2 1 2. And that way, it's like you're mixing both. You're like, okay, this is original voice, but mixed with the effect. And if we solo this, remember, we can hit solo. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. You can control the size. As you can see, the levels are decent as well over here. Check 1 2 1 2. We making tutorials, YouTube. I don't know what I'm saying, but you get it, right? You get it. So that's on you. Like. Use plugins, mess around with them. Don't be scared. It doesn't matter. Just mess around with them. And you can always undo it. You can always start over, whatever. Don't be scared, yo. Just do whatever you want to do, to be honest. All right, so let's say we went through all of that and we're ready to, our song is done. We want to hear our song, play it back in our car or however we play it back. So this is what you do. And one of the things I didn't show you up top, is if you look up here, you see where it's all blue, where I have it all blue right here. I did that by clicking this. Let's just say there's a box, because there's 3 boxes here, then it's outlined by another box. All right. So basically, these 3 are the different tools your cursor has. See, your cursor has different tools depending on where you are within your timeline. So right now, I have a selection tool, right? And if I wanted to move this, let's say I wanted to grab this and move it somewhere else. The selection tool doesn't allow me to grab it. It just allows me to highlight it. So I need the hand tool. So I come up here, click the hand, and now if you look, I can grab and pull it or whatever. And let's say I wanted to select the area and cut it. Like I wanted to take this area and delete it. I pick the selection tool, then I hit delete, bam. But I'm going to undo that. Or let's say I wanted to trim off some of this. I select this tool and it trims. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to get rid of that. You can grab it and bring it back. But to save time, because we don't want to just keep going to the top 1,000 freaking times, right? I click this half a box that's around all 3. And now we got all 3 of them. And depending on where you are, inside of the waveform, your hand, the selection tool will change to whatever it chooses to be. So if I come to the beginning, I know it's going to let me drag and delete. If I come to the middle, I know it's going to let me select. If I go a little under the wave, it's going to allow me to click and grab. So I would definitely tell you, select this box up here and get all 3. And it's so simple. Once you start doing it, it's so simple. So what we're going to do is let's bounce this song down. And bounce I mean let's make it so we can listen to it in our car or send it to a friend and listen to it or whatever. So I'm going to unselect that area. I'm going to come to this area because my song is over. And let's say that was 20 seconds. It's only 20 seconds of a song, right? Of that song. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. I'm going to come to the back and grab all of that. And grab all of this, all of this, all of this. Now, this is another thing I didn't show you, but if I come to the top of this, because this will just end abruptly. Let's just play. Let's say we don't want it to end abruptly. I can't talk today, if y'all noticed. So we want this to fade out. So I'm going to grab my fader tool. If you notice, I'm going to undo that real fast. But this went from a backward C. If you come to the top, it turns into a box. That's basically a box with a fade. It's like a slope. So you grab, click, hold, and you can drag the fader to how you want it to fade out. So now you got it fading out. And that's the end of our 40-second song. So I'm going to highlight this entire thing. So remember this selection tool right here looks like the letter I. It allows us to highlight. So I want it to end there. So I'm going to click, drag to the back. And this is everything that's going to be exported, meaning bounce down, complete. Let's just say this is a complete song. So we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Bounce Mix. Now this part, take your time. You're going to name it. This is Practice YouTube song. File type. Do you want it as an MP3? Do you want it as a wave, as an F? That depends on you. If you don't know the differences, you can just look them up. Typically, I bounce to wave because I upload it somewhere else to kind of master it. So I bounce it to wave. But if you just need a small file, wave files are way bigger. So if you just need a small file, just leave it at MP3 or put it at MP3. You're going to come down, file format. Sometimes this will be on mono or multiple mono. You do not want it on either one of those. You want it on here. What is that? Interval, whatever. This is where you want it, all right? You want it right here. File format is here. Bit depth, 16-bit. Sample rate, I would say don't change it. Session folder. Leave it in the session folder because you want it in a session folder. You just want to find it quick. I know people love to throw stuff on their desktop. Look, just put it in the folder. That way it'll always be there and you won't move it around on your desktop. Trust me, I've been there, lost so many files. Yo, don't even do it. Offline and online. So online means you're going to listen to the song as it renders down all the way through. And it takes the... It doesn't matter if the song is 3 minutes, you're going to listen to it for 3 minutes. The song is 18 minutes, you're going to listen for 18 minutes. I do offline. That way it does this thing way faster. So this song is 40 seconds. If I bounce it offline, it might take 10. Let's see. Bounce. You ain't got to touch none of this. This is your ID tags and things like that. You don't have to touch any of this right now. I mean, you can if you want to name the artist, the album, and all of that. But you don't have to. Hit OK. Bam. Oh, you see that? That was 1 second. So opposed to listening to 40 seconds. So now guess what? We can close out Pro Tools. Close session. I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to go. So my audio files are actually coming to my desktop. And I know this looks crazy, but they're actually coming to my desktop. So my folder is here. It says Practice YouTube. Going to Bounce Files. Here's your song. So if we double click it, it says my volume is currently turned down. Let's see. Because I'm using my mic while also voila. Right? Voila, guys. That is it. That is basically it. You bounced your song down. I mean, there's other you bounce your song down, and there's so many other steps that you can take. But in the beginning, you just want to learn how to get into the flow and put your stuff out. Like, you can use this for podcasts. If you're podcasting, I know we stepping into that podcast world. It doesn't matter if you're just doing voiceover work, if you're recording songs. Like, you don't have to just be like a recording artist to do these things. You can do this on your own. You can do this for your YouTube videos if you want. If you just want to get good quality audio and also be able to edit it how you want and make it sound how you want and manipulate it how you want, these are the steps that you need to take. Man, I hope I helped you guys out, man. DJ Truth, if you got any questions, feel free to ask. If you want any tutorials on anything that I know about, let me know. I'll make some videos. I hope this video can help some people. I really just want to dig in with the people who are really starting off and really just trying to figure out how to get started. All right? Play, stop, rec, man. Make sure y'all subscribe for the vibes. You already know what it is. Truth. Peace.